All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching us in Nigeria across state. There are times when human health takes precedence, before the law, and of course there are times when the law takes precedence over human health, and nonetheless both should work hand in hand for a healthier and orderly society. Again, I welcome you to another interesting edition of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your host, Kike Atanda-Owo, and have the Real Talker on the platform today. Masha came early today. Let me start from there. Masha, how are you doing?
Oh, really? Is that by circumstance or by...
Don't worry, that will be meeting after.
I'm doing very well. I'm doing pretty good.
Beautiful.
Oh, my God.
You look so pregnant with so many things. You have so many things to...
Yeah, we're looking forward to 2023 and we're going to bet goodness.
Fantastic. Is there Kike in the studio? Guys, welcome to the show. My name is Marshall Anthony Ononya, and it's the RTWK show. On the last edition of Real Talk with Kike show, we talked about on this day in history something about the former Liberian president, and I actually was preparing to talk about someone bringing on some bling blings on set, new diamonds on set, in relation to the former Liberian president. Maybe I'm going to be doing that today. So hang on to the show. We'll be telling you about some very blinking fingers in the studio today. Welcome.
When some people don't cannot see that. This is exactly what moves on. Guys, let's move on from all the pleasantries because I don't know what this guy... It doesn't mean we are not going to have that meeting after today. Today's show. Guys, moving on to our On This Day in History segment. The former governor Atanda-Owo of Edo State accused the former minister of finance and of course coordinating minister of the economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, of illegally taking $1 billion from the Federation account on this day in history. God, let's hear the reason for this accusation on our On This Day in History segment. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
On this day in 2015, former Governor Atanda-Owo of Edo State accused the former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, of illegally taking $1 billion from the Federation account to prosecute the re-election bid of former President Goodluck Jonathan. He also insisted that Okonjo-Iweala must explain to Nigerians what happened to the country's finances, saying that Nigerians deserve to know what happened to the nation's economy under her management.
All right, many thanks for staying with us on this day in history segment. Gosh, Masha, like Damilola pointed at you. Let me come to you. What's your take on this day in history segment?
Well, it was an attempt to indict the former coordinating minister for the economy, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. But I think that attempt failed. We were just talking while that was being played as to Dami was making excuses saying, look, it was the party in power at the time, and of course you'd expect that some funds will be unaccounted here and there, especially when they are trying to make a re-election bid. But the question is, in the APC, because then it was the APC, trying to indict the PDP. It was APC trying to indict the PDP. But as it is the APC right now, would you say that such indictment hasn't fallen on their table already? Haven't they done even worse evil? Not that it's an excuse to even perpetrate evil, but the fact still remains that there hasn't been any indictment on her on that matter.
When you say that, and the fact that Damilola is coming from a narrative of it was so, it's like making an excuse.
Yeah,
I just feel that for a woman like her, there shouldn't be such stain on her name, and especially with the legacy she has left behind and her work. So I really don't buy that idea of excuses. I think that with the fact that history is even bringing it to fall is one thing I feel that she needs to address and let it be clear in terms of transparency and accountability of what that money was actually used for, which I think is paramount. Hence the reason why in today's issue, you hear when men will point fingers at women, saying that even women do worse when they're in the corridor of power. They are not accountable to certain things. And I feel that for someone like her, that has a lot of role models behind her, I think it's something that must be addressed and addressed properly. All right, guys, let's get a message from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Multina, share happiness.
We started our journey over 7 years ago, connecting travelers to their favorite destinations.
Since then, we have revolutionized how we want our passengers to feel while flying.
That is why we've introduced our brand new Embraer 195 E2 aircraft. We are on a mission to add new destinations to our ever-increasing fleet.
Our Boeing 777 will take you on an international journey. Mumbai, Guangzhou, London, Johannesburg.
And now, Airpeace is adding a new destination.
On the 1st of March, Airpeace will begin a new adventure to a brand new destination. Join us as we celebrate our first flight to Dubai International Airport.
Airpeace flies you from all our domestic routes to Dubai from Lagos at no additional cost.
All right, many thanks for staying with us. In an effort to reduce the preventable material deaths, and Lagos State government on June 28th released a document entitled Guidelines on Termination of Pregnancy for Legal Indications, and the 40-page document modeled after the National Guidelines for Legal Indications of 2028 that was prepared by the Federal Ministry of Health, which is designed to provide guidelines to medical practitioners and, of course, the other stakeholders on when it is lawful and unlawful to terminate a pregnancy. However, the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, on July 8th ordered the suspension of the state's guidelines on safe termination of pregnancy for legal indications issued by the Director of Family Health and, of course, Nutrition in the State's Ministry of Health for a couple of reasons. Wow. On the show today, guys, we will be having a closer examination and the impact on, impact and, of course, the implications of the policy as well as the suspension of the policies as it is emanated from medical and legal repercussions. And I know that we have real talk issues on this discourse with us as our guest is someone who we can say has the authority to speak on this topic at hand. He is a doctor, a professor, and of course a professional in the field of childbirth and a material health. Let's have a quick look at his profile. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Multina, share happiness.
All right, welcome to the show, everyone, and of course, let me welcome our guest, Professor Boniface. A pleasure to have you on the show today. Again, let me start by saying, how are you doing today, sir?
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, many thanks for creating time to be on the show today. Sir, as you know, the topic at hand, there have been series of arguments on the allowance and suspension of the abortion policy. Every year, there's an estimation of over 287,000 maternal deaths that have occurred globally, to which Nigeria contributes about 14% to this figure that I've just mentioned. What's your experience based on your expertise in the past 25 years in the gynecology, and of course when it comes to being an obstetrics in the field? What would be your advice on the abortion policy as at today, based on what Lagos State government have put out there?
Lagos State maternal mortality ratio has been progressively increasing. I am also chairman of the board of directors of the campaign against unwanted pregnancy, the CUP. We did survey in Lagos State.
Wow, I think.
Okay, we just the network is a bit bad right now. You know, but let's banter on this while the technical people are trying to reconnect establish the network. You know, Dami, let me come to you. I know you're passionate about things like this. You know, what's your take thus far? Did you go through the 40 pages that Lagos State government put out there in terms of the guidelines, the law and the unlawful part of going into such action, basically, especially with the private hospitals? What's your take on that?
Well, I didn't, I'll be very honest, I didn't finish the 40 page. It was quite wholesome and I kept going back and forth. But I think all of it, all in all, with whatever we're having at hand today, based on populations, policies can come and policies can change. Because I believe that if you have a policy in the year 2022, let's say, it depends on the peculiarity of the situation at hand. Then maybe in another 5-6 years after normalcy has been restored, we can abolish some policies and reenact new ones. But I think by and large, I've always said it, that a lot of young women...
In 20...
Okay.
I think we have our guest.
We stratify maternal mortality into 3 categories: during pregnancy, during delivery, and during the puerperium, that is, after the delivery, 6 weeks after the delivery. We found out that during pregnancy, 51.7% of the total deaths, of the total maternal death, was contributed to by abortion. That is, abortion was 51.7% of that maternal death during that period of pregnancy. Now, what do I suggest to Lagos State? My suggestion is those who are opposing the guidelines for the treatment of termination of pregnancy in Lagos State should be empowered by exposing them to what happens internationally. Organize a tour of African countries and some Commonwealth countries. For example, I would suggest that Lagos State organize a tour of South Africa. South Africa has the most liberalized abortion law in Africa. Let them go to Ghana, our next door neighbor. They have amended their abortion law and they have more indications than Lagos State. Now, when we talk about religion, because everybody reduces everything to religion, can they go to Saudi Arabia? For the Muslim. For the Roman Catholic, can they go to Italy? And as well as Ireland, Republic of Air. Now, let me tell you, in Saudi Arabia allows for termination of pregnancy to save the life and health of a woman. In Lagos State say life and physical health. Mental health was removed. Health includes both physical and mental. If a woman is raped in Saudi Arabia and it reports to the police, she can legally seek termination of that pregnancy. In Nigeria, the same Muslim sister of hers cannot. It is legal. So are we saying the Nigerian Muslim women are inferior to the Saudi women? That's where the religion comes from. Now, if you go to Tunisia, Tunisia's abortion law is slightly different from Saudi Arabia. In Tunisia, you can ask for termination of unwanted pregnancy in the first 12 weeks without giving any indication. It is on demand, it is on request. And my Muslim brothers and sisters told me as follows, that in the Muslim religion, the first 40 days, the pregnancy is regarded as a clot of blood. The next 40 days, it is regarded as a bundle of tissues. And it is the next 40 days that the pregnancy is said to be ensouled. And that's the one this Muslim don't touch. So that is a country that practices the religion we practice in Nigeria, the Muslim religion. If you go to Italy, Italy has one of the most liberalized abortion law in the whole of Europe. That's a Roman Catholic country. 9 out of 10 babies born in Italy is Christian as a Roman Catholic. Yet, by referendum, they have one of the most liberalized abortion laws. There are many indications. If you go to Ireland recently, by referendum, they have included life and health.
Can you hear me, sir?
Incest and rape.
Are you there?
My advice to Lagos State is that they should not be cowed by any interest group. Our women are not inferior to other women in other parts of the world. Why must they die?
All
when
right.
Women...
Can you hear me now, sir? Hello, sir. Are you there? All right. Many thanks for all your submission thus far. And I like the fact that you came from different countries, you know, inciting some of these laws that are from Italy, Russia, Saudi Arabia, and of course, South Africa, even our neighboring country, Ghana, Tunisia, and all of that. But I want you to give us or talk to us from a clinical angle. As a gynecologist, I want you to educate our viewers briefly. When is it clinically safe to abort and when not to abort pregnancies? Tailoring down our issues when it comes to sentiment, religion, and of course our culture. So I want you to please, did you hear my question? I was told to repeat myself again. Did you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Probably I should start by defining what is the definition of abortion. Abortion is the termination of pregnancy, is the discontinuation of pregnancy before the age of viability. I use the word discontinuation because there are two types of abortion. There is the induced, the one that is brought down deliberately, that is terminated, and there is spontaneous. So abortion is so much of an emotional issue in Nigeria. But let me go on with the definition. Abortion is the continuation of pregnancy before the age of viability. And the age of viability is determined at country level by policy, law, and practice. In Nigeria, by practice, we take 28 completed weeks. The British that gave us that definition, their age of viability has been adjusted to 24 completed weeks by law in 1990. So abortion can be terminated up to the age of viability.
Okay, sir.
Termination is safe if done in the hands of trained doctors. I'm listening.
Okay, sir. As a gynecologist of repute and owning up to 25 years in service, sir, I would say categorically for myself, Damlola Banire, I think I like the law. Because I'm even looking at a lot of exposure that some young girls have gotten into, looking at situations like rape and even having to force them to have babies that they cannot take care of mentally, physically, and financially in most cases. But because of subjugation or coercion of religion, most young girls have been forced to become mothers. Hence, I think that I also agree with the state government that under legal and health medical implications, they can ask for an abortion. But I'd like to ask you, some of these abortive measures, I think that, I don't know if you would agree with me, that it will also help people to know where to turn to in terms of safety. Looking at today's statistics of having incompetent practitioners and knowing that when people can even go to an abortion theater, they end up 50-50 in most cases. Do you think that we should let this fly?
I think for us to stop death from unsafe abortion, we must make it a health issue. And in order to make it a health issue, the guidelines should stand rather than being suspended. Women should be able to walk into government hospital and have it done cleanly and safely. If it is restricted, women will die from untrained, unskilled abortion care providers. My attitude is Lagos State has started by including physical health, but they should go further by amending that law to include mental health, incest, rape. Are we saying if in the middle of the night an armed robber rapes a woman, we will allow that woman who has been traumatized psychologically to carry that pregnancy to term? I think my answer to that is no. They should also include fetal abnormality. What does anybody gain for a woman that is carrying an encephalic baby, that is a baby without head, without brain, to term, when we know at delivery that baby will die? So fetal abnormality should be part of the indications. Incest, fetal abnormality should be in our law, and health should be defined both as physical and mental.
Maybe a little funny if you say, or a little away from this, because we can go on and be sentimental about whether the abortion law would give rise to fornication, whether it will give rise to immorality, as the church has posited in arguing that the law should be scrapped. And the pressure on the government, hence, it's calling it off at the moment,
Suspension.
or suspending it at the moment. But my own thought is the law, the essence or the cause or the reason for the law is to stem the tide in infant and maternal mortality. A good cause, if you ask me, if I say so. But my concern is when you look at the crimes, if you want, for lack of a better word, medical crimes committed by medical professionals, there seem to be not too many laws to bring medical practitioners like yourself, if I may say, on medical practitioners that commit some medical crimes or fraud. Take for instance, there has been a litany of complaints of women going into the delivery room and not coming out, owing to either negligence on the part of the medical practitioner, owing to lack of the appropriate or adequate medical equipment to use in getting that delivery. And then you see the baby dies, or the baby and the mother dies, or the mother dies, and nothing is almost nothing is done about it. So I'd like to see a situation where a state like Lagos State or professionals like yourselves are coming together to see that these people are really brought to book, or some measures are being put in place to ensure that these kind of actions are punishable. That's my concern.
I want to reassure you that Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria punishes erring doctors. Recently, there was a popular hospital that had a problem when a popular woman died during cesarean section. Those doctors have been removed from medical register. And there is an ongoing case where the doctor has not been tried at all, but has been suspended. His license has been suspended. Any report to the Medical and Dental Council is treated promptly. But Medical and Dental Council can only address cases that are reported to it. And I believe Nigerians that know their rights will report such cases if it happens to them. Medical and Dental Council, I must say, is the only professional body that in Nigeria that I know that openly punish their members and put it in the press.
Submission thus far, sir. But sir, I want to call your attention to one of the laws that took place recently. On June 24th, 2022, the U.S. joined the short list of countries that are increasing abortion restriction when the Supreme Court overturned the constitutional right to abortion. This is the case of Roe versus Wade, And today, only 171 countries are actually on the table out of 195 that are allowed to abort. I must ask you, is it a global wave? Or will I say that is it WHO directive? Or is there a new research or discovery to this effect? And I would like to also ask you, after answering this question, that I would like you to clarify if abortion is actually legal or illegal in Nigeria.
Okay, let me start with your last question.
Okay.
When anybody tells you that abortion is illegal in Nigeria, whether that person is a doctor or a legal practitioner, is talking out of ignorance. Generally, in the whole country, abortion is legal only to save the life of a woman. The issues of abortion are addressed nationwide in both the penal and criminal codes. The penal code in northern states and Abuja, section 232, 233, and 234. The criminal code in the South, except Lagos State that has amended its own, and it's section 228, 229, and 297. Or everyone states that it is only legal to save the life of a woman. Now, we doctors believe no woman will lose his life without losing his health. So the interpretation of doctors is different from what the law states. And I don't think any doctor can be punished for that. If the law says you do not terminate unless the life of a woman is at stake, how does the woman lose her life if she has not lost her health? So let me now move on to Lagos State. I won't talk about Nigeria. Lagos State in 2011 added one more indication, and that is physical health. Now, let's go to the world. Roe versus Wade was a Supreme Court decision of the United States of America in 1973 that it is the constitutional right of any woman to determine which pregnancy goes forward, which one does not. But as you said recently this year, that has been overturned. The Supreme Court felt that it is not a constitutional right in America and states that the state legislatures should make laws about abortion. And Congress also was called upon to make laws about termination of pregnancies. Now, you are asking whether there is a wave in restriction of abortion laws in the world. There is no wave. If you look at the map, the northern hemisphere have more liberalized abortion laws. The southern hemisphere have more restrictive laws. But coincidentally, the southern hemisphere I'm talking about are countries of the poor. The affluent countries of the world, including Australia, have more liberalized abortion law. So the point I'm making is that it's not restrictive worldwide. It's a minority of countries, and especially those countries, you'll find them in Africa, that have restrictive laws.
Quick break to get a word from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
I used to care for the world's opinion. I used to fear their rejection. I used to beg for validation. And I used to wait to be seen. But the fire that burned in me was hotter. And the passion that lived in me had a voice of its own. So I stopped waiting and started to act. I stopped fearing and started to live. And when they thought I'd fail, I stepped into my power.
Because my time is now.
I'm still Malta. Be your best.
All All right, many thanks for staying with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about abortion policy set up by Lagos State government and, of course, later suspended for reasons of review and, of course, holistic assessment that should take place in the next coming weeks, even though a date has not been assigned to that. However, we have been discussing the medical and the legal implication of this policy, and with us is a member of National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies and the former president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Boniface. I want to say many thanks for all that you've been sharing thus far, and I want to use this opportunity to quickly open our phone lines. Remember, you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 080-988-77-400 showing on your screen right now. We are streaming live on YouTube and, of course, on Facebook page, both on Silverbird platform and on Real Talk with Kike, so you can catch us live right there. Sir, with all that you've shared thus far, you know, while the aim of the state government is to protect lives of the mother, you know, with pregnancies that are threatening to the lives and mental health, to stop maybe the backdoor abortion of quack doctors and all of that. I also know that in some of your submission as well, you've also raised the issue of religious cycles that have kicked against it on the premises that it is unlawful to take lives, you know. But as a professional, how do we intend to manage the outcome when the state government allows it and the religious leaders, you know, preach against it? How do we find a balance? How do people find a balance without sentiments?
A balance can be found by dialogue. The religious leaders should be engaged.
Okay.
They should be educated.
Reoriented.
My own, Lagos State has enough money to sponsor them abroad. Let them go to the headquarters of the religion they practice. What is the law there? I've just given you the example of Saudi Arabia, that if a woman is raped, once she reports to the police, she can seek termination of that pregnancy legally. In Nigeria, it is not so. So why should we have a Muslim in Saudi Arabia being treated differently from a Muslim woman in Nigeria? A Muslim woman in Nigeria is not an inferior woman. If you are a Roman Catholic, why can't we have the law in Italy? In fact, if you do not have enough resources to look after that baby you are about to deliver, you are allowed to terminate. If it will affect the babies that are already on the ground, you are allowed to terminate. And I'm sure you know the meaning of that. Where there has been a dispute about a baby, or is as a result of adultery, and the man says it's not my baby, and DNA confirms that, and there are babies in the family. If they both agree that psychologically it will be the fetish to the baby that are already born, she's allowed to terminate. I'm just telling you that we are not asking for unusual indication by asking government to expand the indication to include mental health, incest, rape, and in a situation where a woman is attending a family planning clinic and it fails, the woman should be allowed to terminate. Fetal abnormality should be part of the indication for termination of pregnancy. This is what we are saying. But government should engage the religious leaders. They should sponsor them to the headquarters of the religion they practice and bring back home the laws in those headquarters. If you are a Muslim, why can't we have the law as it is in Saudi Arabia? If you're a Roman Catholic, why can't we have the law as it is in Italy or in Ireland? If you're a Protestant and Anglican, why can't we have the law as it is in Britain? That is my submission. Nigerian women should be treated equally like the women in other countries.
Well, I think Nigerian women should also form a coalition to come out to speak for themselves at some point, because I believe that if they come out to say, okay, yes, this we like the idea, it will help us to manage our health and our physical fitness, well, probably it will fly. But my question here is that how are we going to be able to manage multiple abortion series in the case of infidelity that you have also mentioned, and some women just goes philandering and she ends up getting pregnant multiple times, once, twice, and she knows that, okay, if such a bill is passed and is enacted, codified into law, that she's allowed to go in to manage her pregnancy under abortion. Do you think it will not become an abuse again for some women to see it as a yardstick? Regulations now, to see it as a yardstick to keep going and coming since she has the freedom of abortion? Would there be some kind of stiff penalties or regulations? Or let's say, okay, if you've had 3 abortions before, you know what, number 4, you go burn this one.
I have a different opinion. Usually, the opinion you have just expressed are usually what the men put forward. And I'll give you one simple example. A group of abortion care seekers were interviewed in Jos whether this type of service they have come for should be made available to other women in Nigeria. You know what they said? They said it is immoral. 9 out of 10 of them said it is immoral. The conclusion is my own abortion is the only morally is the only one that should be morally allowed. Yours should not be. And that is holier than thou attitude. You have just come to terminate.
Apologies. We have Nice from River State calling. Nice, please go straight to the topic at hand.
I'm asking in reference to the program on the television where I saw the number. I can speak on that.
I'm not sure we can hear that. Are you still there, Nice?
No, I'm not sure.
All right, I think we have to let that go. We have to let that go. Sir, I need to quickly ask you, because I know that the pro-abortion policies affect international funding in the healthcare areas for government from international organizations like UNESCO, WHO, USAID, and etc. I feel that as the reason why that there's a campaign against abortion, I stand to be corrected, because I feel that there's quite a number of funds that comes from all of these NGOs. What does our country stand to lose or gain with this policy? We know that Lagos State is also setting the pace, and very soon we may see other states join in this race of abortion policy. But what do you think that Lagos State stands to gain in all of this?
It is not true that international health organizations are against safe abortion services. What is happening is that there are some individuals and some governments that will not fund abortion-related activities of those international NGOs. That's what is going on. Now, to me, safe abortion services is good for government to pursue. There are many reasons why we should not allow our women to die from unsafe abortion? Should our women die from unsafe abortion?
Popular opinion on the streets is that one of the reasons that gave birth to that law is an attempt to stem the rising population in the country, and using Lagos.
An attempt to do what?
To stem the rising population in the country. The Nigerian government for a while now has lamented the high population increase, and there is word on the street that there is a conspiracy to, you know, deploy every machinery to stem the population in the country. Would you want to throw some light on that as to how true or not that is?
I don't think that's also correct. The only country in the world that I know that does that is China, under the One China policy, which they have eased out now. Under the One China policy, if you have a second pregnancy, you'll be forced to terminate that pregnancy because they don't want to increase their population beyond what it is now. Their population is in the billions. As for Nigeria, we have not got to that level. Reformation of the abortion law is about providing quality healthcare services to our women. Now, what has government not done? Government has not provided or promoted contraception. Anywhere contraception, any community that has contraceptive policy and the people embrace it, maternal mortality falls by about 30%. Abortion also will be a thing of the past in that environment. I'll give you one country, the Netherlands. I'm sure you've heard something about the Netherlands when they amended the law in the law on abortion in Netherlands. The French call it Pays-Bas.
Thanks,
now,
many times we've actually run out of time, you know. Many thanks for all that you've shared thus far with us, you know. But before we let you go, sir, there's this last segment of the show that we call Trending Stories. I believe this affects you as a Nigerian and as a professional in this medical field. And the first trending story that caught our attention is that of Aregbesola, that said travel approval for expired passport holders. Damlola, quickly, let me come to you before I ask our guest his opinion. What's your take when you saw this this trending story?
For me, it felt like are we coming from the Stone Age? Because even people who live abroad, they've complained incessantly of wanting to renew their passports, and it's either the embassy in whatever country that they live is locked, or the way they are even maltreated and different things. Now, the Minister for Interior is saying that you can come to Nigeria because your passport is expired. I mean, we always put the cart before the horse these days and putting round pegs in square holes. It doesn't fit for me. It just does not fit. We have too many problems than asking Nigerians who do not even want to come back to come home because of expired passports.
All right, many thanks for your submission, Damda. Sir, quickly, do you have what's your take on this trending story? Did you catch it on social, Andrew? I'm not sure if you're active on the social media space. Are you there, sir?
No, I can't get what you said.
So basically, okay, let me just let it go. For me, Marshall, I just feel that when I read this news yesterday and I saw that it was responding to the citizens, we Nigerians that are having challenges, you know, or the Nigerians that are in the diaspora, so to speak, that are having challenges in renewing their visas, or I mean their passports rather, to come home. My take is that it's quite a difficult challenge, you know, for Nigerians, would I say, in other countries to even I mean, to get renewal of their passport. But let me now tailor it down to Nigeria. We, the citizens ourselves, we find it even more challenging, even back home, our own soil,
here,
to even, so let alone outside the country. So for me, so it just takes, I just feel that there are quite a number of people out there, they understand that they're not supposed to be going through little challenges like renewing your passport. Over here in Nigeria, sometimes it takes us 3 months or even
Come
even
to
more.
Abuja, go to Lagos.
More importantly, I feel that we even pay, and we pay more for it. Something that should take 15,000 naira. At least that's the official price. But my dear, I don't want to tell you guys my experience, in renewing our Nigerian passport, my children's Nigerian passport and all of that. You really do not want to know how much we paid. And the fact that you even have one contact or the other even baffles me for the ordinary Nigerians on the street of corridor, on the street of Lagos, how it will take them and how long it will take them. I personally feel that, I want to call out Minister for Interior, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola himself. I'm sorry, I just feel that this year he has assured many of us, including the immigration officers. I feel that they are using this thing to make money. Yes, I'm saying this on this platform, and I just feel that it's really sad that things like this are still ongoing. I also want to use this opportunity to call out Festus, what's his last name again? Because I feel that this is part of their job. Kiyamo, thank you. I feel this is part of their job in creating job opportunities and also making sure that when it comes to passport, things like this is being addressed swiftly. But the fact that we are still going through all these challenges in Nigeria, you are expecting those abroad to come home and allow them with their the question is, they might even get in here and might not be able to get out for another 2-3 years. It could happen.
Yes, they don't lock the gate on them.
What happens to their, it's just unfortunate. Marcha, quickly, what's your take on this?
You really want my take on it? I think he should be fired already. I've said it.
He should have been fired since last year.
I said it before. I mean, number one, as Minister for Interior, if you check the jailbreaks we've had, he's responsible. As far as he's the head, the buck stops on his table. I mean, for you to have one jailbreak in a country, the Minister for Interior, he should be held responsible. We've not had 5, we've not had 6, we've had more than 7, I think. Then for you to now say something as common as renewal of passports, you then say that if you hold a passport that has been expired in the UK,
use
in
1
the US,
million to come home.
Come down to Nigeria. When we, Kike here, myself, Dami, we've not been able to renew our own. And then you tell somebody who is there, struggling to come back.
Who does not want
to? Does it make any sense?
No, it doesn't make sense, Marshall. Just to add to this, this happened to me, I think 5 years ago, where my Nigerian passport and the one of my son had expired. Remaining, you need 6 months validation before you can travel with it. Even though you have another passport, you still need your own dual citizenship of Nigeria. You know that he actually waited to say that, when we get abroad, we will renew it. And it took us just 24 hours to renew that passport abroad.
What are the email channeling doing?
Some of the challenges, but now it's now worse online. Abroad, it's worse online, it's worse in our,
it's worse everywhere.
So it's unfortunate, but quickly before Moses start running commentary in my ears, the last second trending story is that of Buhari, which is still similar to what we are still talking about, which is lack of jobs. Buhari said that no jobs anymore. God, Marshall, what's your take on this? Your president, your sitting president, said there's no job anymore.
People should train your children.
These are the people who promised us that they will create
3
million jobs every year. And then they look at you in the face. This is not the first time the president is telling you. He has even said that you should study, just go to school because you want to go to school. That don't go to school and have government work at the back of your mind. Because there is no job in government right now. He has said it long before now. And then he's repeating it to say, I mean, we just can't wait. Kike, please, can you do us
7 months about
of not bringing issues about this government on trending so that we can begin to
look into let me put it out there. Today's trending, it was Damilola that actually picked them in the WhatsApp group.
No, because
at the end of the day, I just feel that we can imagine when unemployment level has has risen beyond 30% or even, you know, I just feel that above 30%, and I feel that the president is also, what he's saying is that there are no jobs. What is the function of the Ministry of Labour and Employment again? I ask him, Payne, what is the function of the government itself, if not to provide jobs and infrastructure that can help create jobs, you know? And the administration has clearly failed us, however we look at it. I'm just angry today that I feel like calling out all of that. I'm sure that we have minister for labor, that's Chris Ngige. Of course, Festus Keyamo that I mentioned earlier too. Their job is for them to create job, provide job for youth, and yet their ministry are getting allocations every day. Yet they are more carried away with the coming election 2023. Meanwhile, unemployment is increasing every day, and the sitting president is saying to us that there are no longer jobs. So industries are dying. You know, some are even moving out of the country to neighboring country because of this epileptic power supply. You guys don't want to know how much I pay for power supply.
Should I add something?
We are crying out loud, Damilola, that there are no jobs. Yet our president can come out and say there are no jobs. It's more or less like validating what we know. So in short, many Nigerians are fed up. Many of them think that for 2023 to come, and we need a fresh air of new administration. We need people that will come into power and actually hold them accountable on their campaign material to say this is what I'm going to deliver. Should I tell you something? It's just unfortunate that, you know, even people like us that we can afford 3 square meters, we are still here lamenting. So can you just imagine how that?
No, we eat 2 times in my house. Should I tell you something now?
Okay, I take
Should I tell you something? Whatever the president is saying as at now, I challenge the government of Buhari to tell us that there are no ghost workers within the Nigerian government system.
But
I also challenge them.
Told us that at the end of this administration, they
will bring out the. I also challenge the APC government to tell us that there are people who are not supposed to have retired still in government office.
Thank you, Marshall said thank you. Let's go, guys.
They will bring fictitious ages, 60 and above.